I gotta pull my large sticker off this shirt. First time I've worn this shirt. Have you ever got something stuck in your eye? Let's talk about that. When I was a stonemason, I would work up on high buildings a lot, and sometimes I'd be working down on the ground, getting in mud, digging ditches, that kind of stuff. And one thing that always irritated me with working with stone or brick was getting something in my eye. It is the worst. If you've ever had that happen to you, and I assume a lot of you have, you know the feeling. You're working, you get something stuck in your eye, and immediately everything stops, right? And you don't want to do anything. All you want to do is get this thing out of your eye. We've been looking at this guy in the Bible that was blind. It's in John chapter 9. And this man had been blind from birth. He'd been blind for a very long time. And last Wednesday I talked about how the disciples looked at this guy and they were like, Jesus, who sinned, this guy or his parents, that made him be born blind? Which is a ridiculous question. And their reaction to him was not to help and to heal, but their reaction to him was actually to find the problem. And a lot of times we do the same thing with people in our lives. We aren't trying to find the solution, we're just trying to find the blame for the problem. Maybe you do that for yourself in your life. Maybe you blame yourself for things that go wrong, or maybe you blame everyone else in your life. But Jesus doesn't want us to live in our brokenness, because sometimes we can get comfortable where we are and we stop trying to push forward and be better, and we instead say, I deserve to be here. Jesus doesn't want us to live in our brokenness. And so today we're going to look at what Jesus does for this blind man. The disciples ask this question in verse 2. The Bible says, his disciples asked him, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And Jesus answered and says, it wasn't this man or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. Maybe the problem you're dealing with right now is not something that's your fault or something that you did. Maybe it's so that God is about to do something big in your life, which was exactly the case here in this story. So Jesus says in verse 6, or the Bible says rather, having said these things, he spit on the ground and made mud with the saliva. Then he anointed the man's eyes with the mud. Isn't that disgusting? Jesus literally spit on the ground, made mud, and put it in this guy's eyes. Now, Jesus has healed people with spit before. That's something we've seen before. But this time, Jesus was healing this man with mud. Isn't that disgusting? And then he tells him to do something. He puts this mud in his eyes, and Jesus says, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. The Bible says, so he went and washed. Now, you know what's interesting is Jesus never told this man that he would be healed when he got to Siloam. Jesus never said, go to Siloam and then your sight will be returned. He never said, go to Siloam and you'll have 20/20 vision. Go to Siloam and you'll be able to see. He said, go to Siloam and wash. And you know what's interesting is sometimes when we're going through a problem, we don't know what Siloam will bring. Does that make sense? Sometimes when we're going through a problem, we don't know what it's going to look like when we're on the other side. Sometimes we have no guarantee that that problem will even go away. But Jesus had something bigger for this man. Jesus put mud in this man's eyes. And part of me wonders if Jesus put mud in this man's eyes in order to keep him walking to Siloam. Maybe the fact that Jesus used mud in this situation was because he knew that that guy would get halfway there and think, man, this is stupid. I was comfortable. I knew where my money would come from because I would ask for money. I knew where I would buy bread. I knew that I had a place to sleep. Man, that was my spot on the street to beg. I was comfortable. Maybe he would have got halfway there and turned around, and he never would have known what healing was like. Maybe it's the same in your life. Maybe there's something in your life that is so irritating and so frustrating, like the mud in this man's eyes. But maybe that is the same thing that keeps you walking towards Siloam. You see, Jesus doesn't want you to live in your brokenness. And Jesus has something bigger for you on the other side. And I don't know what that looks like in your life. Maybe healing for you and Siloam for you is something different than it is for me, but I do know this, is that Jesus doesn't want you to live in your brokenness. So here's my challenge to you. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you're discouraged. Take that frustration and that discouragement and use it as something that points you back to Jesus. When you feel discouraged, don't complain. Don't get angry. But instead, look to Jesus and say, I don't know what you have for me on the other side. I don't know what you're promising on the other side of Siloam. But Jesus, I have faith that this is good and that healing can happen. That's my challenge to you. If you're going through a specific situation where you just don't know what healing looks like, maybe you feel broken and maybe you feel like it's your fault or maybe it's the fault of someone else, and you don't know what it looks like on the other side, talk to me or talk to anyone here at Crossroads. And I say this every week because I mean it. We are here for you, and we want to do life with you. And so that's my encouragement, my challenge to you on this Wednesday. With that being said, I love you guys, and I hope I see you soon.